What is up? We are back for part 3 of the Tinker's Construct Bedrock Guide. And I see I made some adjustments to our little layout here, but we'll get into that soon. So for those of you who've been following along, thank you for following along, and I hope this guide has been helping you. Mostly because I made it because I must have been getting confused, and I imagine there's also probably other people who also get confused about certain parts of this, and we'll still cover. There's still a lot to cover, but on this part, in part 3 for today, we're going to go ahead and get into survival, is going to be covering the smelting, the mighty smelting. So to get this book, of course, as shown in the last episode. In the last episode, we covered the beginning smelting, the puny smelting. In the puny smelting book, it is shown at the very end here how you get the next tier of Smeltery, and it is by combining a book with a seared brick. So combining a book with seared brick will get you the mighty smelting. Like, this is when you make your higher tier tools. You're moving away from iron tools into bigger tools, stronger tools, faster tools. So this is when it starts to become really big, a lot more expansive with what you can do. And this is pretty much the highest tier you can reach in terms of like smelting. There's different individual components you could change, but when it comes to it, this is the highest tier. There's no bigger smeltery besides this. So getting into it, so we're gonna go ahead and open for the first part, mighty smelting. Of course, it talks about the anvils, so we talked about that in part 1. It's how you make swords and cleavers. But of course, you can make that with the puny smelting. It does talk about a few other things. So, but how do you make this? Well, first you're going to need some resources, and we'll talk about that. Well, you're going to need certain resources like seared bricks. Of course, seared bricks. All this stuff costs seared bricks, but it costs different ways. So, get into it. First, to begin to make the smeltery, you'll first need a controller. So, how do you make a controller? Well, you need a casting basin, molten copper, and seared brick block. So, which I already have all of them ready to go just for this. So, we place the block in, and then you pour the molten copper in. And at first, you don't see anything until you look here in the corner and you see that looks like a pig nose. You pull it out, and you have your controller. You cannot craft the controller. In fact, the controller is the only part of all this you cannot craft. You can make everything else but the controller. That you specifically have to make in a kind of a weird way. I'm going to be honest, it's quite different. It feels kind of needless, but eh. So now that you have your controller, you can now begin the rest of the process of making your smeltery, which you'll need a sear tank and a sear drain. The sear tank is how you put your fuel in the into the smeltery, and the drain is how you'll pull your fuel and like your resources out. First go ahead and I got my sear bricks and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and get into how you make it. So first off, you find an area. So this is gonna be quite big. So you'll need to find, of course, in the book it says you'll need a 7x7 area at the minimum because it is going to be quite big. So to begin with, the book does also show you how to make it. So it shows you the crafting recipes for everything, and it just does a step-by-step process of making it. So, book first, I'll go ahead and go with that. So first, the way I do it is you can place it like this. You can also place it above, but so I like to place it like this on the ground. So placing it on the ground will show you this outline, this red outline. It's a little hard to see, but this is pretty much the outline you need in order to make your smeltery. So I dig into the ground. I mean, I build a mine in the ground. Of course, you don't have to. You can build yours up. It doesn't. Uh, it's limited. So unlike the Java edition, where you can, there is a limited version, like the minimum version, but and a maximum version you can make. There isn't anything like that here. So so I went ahead and placed the seed bricks into the ground, and then place the seared tank, and then the seared drain. As long as you have one of those two things was to control it and this outline filled out, you can make the um, thing. So then you place blocks around like this. It's kind of like the in portal frame, of course, making all that. So So all you gotta do is follow this red outline. And this red outline will not. I don't know if there is a way to turn off the red outline. You gotta crouch to place those. If there is, maybe. So I mean, but I don't know if you can use the controller as a decorative block. I don't think there is a way to. But bam. So now those red outlines are gone, and your smeltery is complete. That's it. There you go. You did it. That is how you make your smeltery. But unlike the Java edition, there is no way to you can build on top of it, but it does not increase the capacity. Nothing. It is just the air. It is just this. This is the amount of space you get, and that's kind of just it. I mean, not really much else to it. So I'll go ahead and show different ones. This is the one I like to make. I like using a little campfire to show like smoke and or steam rising out when there's liquids in there and glass to see the liquids. Uh, this one I made just to be silly. It's nothing but like a bunch of seared tanks on the bottom, and I mean it works. And then this one to prove it works, this one is all seared drains, and then we're going to build up. You see, and there is molten iron in there, so it does work. As long as it is the shape, and as long as you have a seared tank, a seared drain, doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter what seared bricks you use. You just have to use seared bricks or something made out of seared bricks, and that's how you do it. So there's a few other components. Of course, you'll need a casting table, and then you'll need faucets to get the materials out, and you can casting tables and basins to block. So this is kind of when you start making your bigger tools. You can make bronze, like all sorts of different ones, and we'll look at it here in just a second. So place your faucets like this, ground, and you can place your casting table and your base. And of course, you can have multiple faucets like that over there. So of course, you can drain a lot more stuff. You don't have to do one at a time. It is multi-purpose. You can make a bunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab some casts so we can start making some stuff. And of course, this one's the word. So I think you know what we do? We make a diamond sword. Why don't we make a diamond sword? We'd have of course the classic, you know, okay, in game. And the only fuel that the smeltery will take is lava. That is the let's see if I can show it. Lava is the only thing that you can place water and other liquids in here, but it is only lava that is going to fuel this. You cannot use coal, charcoal, and nothing else. So we'll go ahead and grab some lava, and then I'll grab some diamonds. So you can smelt diamonds, and that's how you make diamond tools. So we'll put some lava in. Of course, crouch and light clicking lets you know that there is 3,000 millibuckets or buckets worth of, there's 3 buckets worth of lava in it right now. And then to use it, you actually probably should have used mine. And the great thing is, you can take it back out. So Sear Tank will allow you to carry resources and hold in other resources, water, and you can mine it. And in fact, we're gonna break it, pick it up, and then we're gonna place it. Bam! All that lava is still in there. So you can take it with you. You can do another trip, fill it in, and then come back. So I'm gonna use mine. That way we can see the process happening. Um, so I probably should have thought of that, but that's all right. That's all right. Of course, I still have a bunch of stuff just ready to go for showcasing how you do all this fun stuff. So this is now going to be when the fun of Tinkers really is going to begin. You can make your diamond. Netherite is actually quite similar to vanilla, so nothing about that changed. So, bam, easy. You're filled in. So we're gonna fill it in to the max. And oh, we're out of fuel. So, there we go. We have a bunch of oh, that. So now we have a bunch of diamonds in there, and it kind of looks cool with it floating out. It looks real. It looks like it's molten. So we're gonna go ahead and just make some diamonds. Show you how this works. So when you place your casting base, you can use a sand cast. All that stuff still works. So then you just hit the faucet, and it pours out and hardens. There you go. Now I got diamond sword piece, and then we can make this. Bam. But unlike was like say was diamonds, and of course you come over here to the anvil to make this into a diamond sword. There you go. Now a full pure diamond sword, ready to attack your foes. Of course, it's the iconic sword. It's the most iconic. So of course you can customize those, mix and match with other resources in order to get the fullest. Of course, I'm not going to cover all those other resources right now because a lot of those are different ingots and stuff, and that's worthy of its own kind of video. Of course, we will go over it in like the book in a little bit, but to make certain things like diamonds, like you just so make normal diamonds. See, there is a diamond cast, and to make this is you put gold in, you put a diamond, and then you use it to make a diamond cast. So you can make diamonds. So we're gonna pour this out before, and much like the ingots, you can get two out. So we can place. Oh, there's no fuel. Oops. So you can place one in and get two back out. So Smeltery is really good for a lot of resources, like for managing multiple resources like that. And we're out of diamonds, but it's all right. We're gonna get this all back. Bam, diamond. You know what? We'll place this in the middle, right there. Not center, but there you go. So that is just how you make it and how that works. It is just a much better version of the melter. You can then melt and smelt all materials. There's no limit to what materials you can make. Whereas the melter, there's a limit to what materials you can make. Here, there just is there is no limit like that. All of this can go in there. Amethyst, bronze, uh, Pepsin, Millennium, Netherite, pig iron, queen slime, all that can go in there. And of course, it does go over the resources. So, and that's how you make it. Using this sear tank, you can use lava, and how you can do that. Of course, you can still use like the copper cans and stuff to pull stuff out. So there's the alloy crafter, and this gets into other ones. So there's like again more special materials, but I'm gonna go over this. This is the tier 3 materials, so you're getting past diamond material into you're getting to the diamonds. So there's amethyst, bronze, there's diamond, there's cobalt, slime, steel, andorite, and of course that gets into something else altogether. So we're gonna kind of skip those for just this moment, and just kind of just probably should back up. Talk about. So, Diamond has the or sorry, Amethyst Bronze has the Soul Bound. So I like to go over to some of the abilities. First, talk about the Diamond has the trait Diamond. Cobalt has Killager. Let's see. Slime Steel has Stuck, and Andorite has Smelting. So we're gonna get to the end here when it talks about those abilities. And so Killager, defeating villagers and pillagers can reward you with emeralds and potentially granting you hero of the village. Smeltery boosts the efficiency by automatically smelting mined blocks. Stuck, a crippling strike slows your enemies, hindering their escape and attack speed. Soulbound, your prized tools and weapons stay bound to your spear, preventing loss on death. And Diamond infuses your tools and weapons with enhanced durability, making them resistant to wear and tear. So these aren't too bad. Of course, I haven't really talked about the abilities by showing them, but I'll be honest, a lot of them are just not that good, especially early game. Like a lot of the early game ones are just terrible. They're just terrible, and you don't really get to good ones until you start getting into the higher tiers. But tier 4 tools, we're gonna kind of go over it a little bit here. So, of course, for tier 4, you'll need to make blazing lava, which is by putting a blaze head and then pouring lava on it, you get blazing lava. Blazing lava is hotter and is how you can smelt the higher tiers of tools. Which, in order to get those, it's the same thing here. Use the alloy smelter. Like here's slime steel, here's rose gold, here's queen slime, netherite, millennium, and a lot of that costs a lot of higher tier materials in order to make. So clean slime has bounce, uh, millennium has plunder, hipstatin has floaty, And netherite has a guardian. Of course, we can talk about those. Bounce soar into new heights. Wielding this tool grants a powerful jump boost and soft landing. Plunder stain foes, sh- uh, s- s- slain foes shower you with riches. So it pretty much works like looting, guarding, stains your ground. This trait absorbs the force of blows, keeping you steady in combat. And floating your attacks pack a punch. So it works like a natural knockback. So, and of course, you can make all sorts of ones. If you want to make a sword with fact, it was like floaty. You could have a knockback and a stuck sword to where your tool just you slow them down and you knock them back, which then do a lot of damage to them. So again, that's the fun of Tinker's Construct, is able to mix and match all these different pieces and tools to make a new one. So this is when you're getting into the higher tier, and you'll need blazing lava. So of course, and that's kind of just it. There's no more books to make after this. You reach the end of Tinker's Construct. Of course, there is more though. There are more different types of books because there's more to Tinker's Construct. There's more weapons and more tools, which we'll have to cover for next time, as this will be it for part 3, just getting into the main smelting, how you do it, of course, how you can, and then of course, how you get to smelting, how you make a smeltery, and how that stuff works. And then, of course, now next time we'll probably get into, the different alloys, the different abilities, modifying, because there's a lot else to cover that I haven't quite covered yet. So this is it. So I hope this guide has so far been helping you. I mean, it helps me. Of course, I can always look back onto it if I get lost or confused. But again, thank you all for watching. Please leave a comment down below if you have any advice for anyone else. And thank you for watching.